the weather that we've had. Just want to thank you again, as always, for being here with us and spending time. I know how busy you are out there. So I know every moment that you spend with us is taking time away from something else that you're working on. So I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I see people putting their information in the chat. I'd ask you to continue to do that if you have not done so. It is how we are able to ensure our attendance. I will only be with you the first hour. I do have an interview that I have to conduct, and it is scheduled at 11, so I'll be jumping off. But the team will be here. They'll continue the meeting, and my staff know if there's something that comes up and I'm needed, they will definitely get in touch with me. So again, let's go ahead and get started, everyone. So good morning. Just to update everyone, we did have and have completed our FA2 for our Early Head Start expansion program. It did end on, as anticipated, at 2 o'clock on June 6th, which was last Friday. We only did a 4-day week, not a 5-day, which was done the last time we did it. So it was Tuesday through Friday. It was a hybrid where we had 2 reviewers here in town. The other 2 were virtual, but we still conducted all of the various categories and pieces of work. I will say that they were pleased with what they saw in centers when they were able to go out and do the classroom observation. So I thank all of you who participated in that and made sure that the reviewers were welcomed into the facility, could get into classrooms, and had opportunities to do interviews with staff. And that also included, I understand, some family support staff and others along with teachers. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you for all of what you do every day. Now, reminder, everyone, we are doing one behind the other. Our EHSCCP grant is next up for an FA2. We know it could be as early as September. And the reason I'm saying that is I'm not sure if they put that one in the current cohort or if it's going into the next cohort, meaning next year. Until we know more, I'm saying that we're going to go ahead and get started working with you in July. We have lessons learned from our FA2 with the expansion program, and we are going to be using that as our template and our roadmap of how we're going to work with you to make sure that we're able to stand up everything that's necessary for EHSCCP. So if you have any classroom, any program, anywhere that $1 of EHSCCP is being expended, you will be engaged in this next FA2 review. And so again, we need to be readying ourselves for that. The one thing that I didn't put on here, and I did before, and that's reminding everyone that class observations are due to start in the fall. And the city of Chicago has not had a class observation of its Head Start program in a couple of years. And so I do anticipate the moment that they decide to start doing those, that we're probably going to get a notification regarding class. And to that point, I know my staff have been working with agencies and making sure that we're getting people through some of the Teachstone trainings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're going to continue to work on that, but know that that could come up in the same program year. Want to thank everyone for completing their COLA grant applications and getting everything in. We've submitted everything to the regional office. I anticipate getting something back from them this week regarding everything, because remember, everything comes from you to us, then we package the entire packet and it goes off to the regional office for any additional comments or if they need any additional information. So we're waiting to hear from them. But again, thank you. Nor was a quick turnaround, but I thank you for all that you were able to do on your side and making sure that we were able to submit that. I know many of you who have our ECBG, either PFA or PI dollars, were engaged in the meeting. I thank you for the very short notice on the meeting that we did have on the 13th regarding this, but we wanted to make sure we could say something to you as quickly as possible, notifying you that this is what we were going to be doing. I've been talking about underspend, underspend, underspend month after month at each of our meetings, and we are ending this year again with underspend. And so a decision was made, instead of leaving all the dollars on the table, that we wanted to do a one-time retention allocation to staff. We have been receiving a lot of questions regarding this. I do have a meeting today regarding it. And I want to clarify some points with the fiscal team before I respond to all the questions. But Jocelyn, my assistant, and I will be responding to questions later today so that you know exactly what's going on with that. I just want to make sure, because some of you are asking the same question. And so we're just going to come out with a list of responses to questions that we've received, and we'll get that back out to all of you so that you know exactly what else, if anything, you need to do. The one thing I do want to say is I'm hearing, and I can say this sitting here, is that I'm hearing that there are additional staff. I do need to say, and this is one of those reasons where I really need people to keep up with systems, because the only thing we can do is pull from our data systems when we're trying to do something as massive as this. And so what was in our COPA system for your staff and what we had on our ECBG as far as staff that we knew were being allocated, your Pell or BA credential level 5 teachers, we had that information, and that's how we did some cross-matching to make sure that we had it. I understand there's some other staff, and we'll be talking to agencies individually about that. But again, when we were doing this, we had to go with the data that we had in order to determine what the amount was and how we will be able to get this out of the door. So again, we will be following up if you have some specific questions regarding that. But again, we do have a list of questions that we're pulling together responses for. I want to meet with the fiscal team, as I said. We'll then put all those questions together, and we will just get those out to everyone, because if you may not have asked the question, but have the question. And so I do want to just get that out to everybody. My next point on here, as we've been working, and we've been working on standing up a new data system. One thing I said a while ago is we got a chance to name the data system. And so it really is called Csd Cares. And CARES really is what we do for children and families who care about all the children and families that we work with. What I'm going to do in an email is I will send you what that acronym stands for so that you can have it in your house and everybody understands what it is. But it is children accountability. I'm going to mess it up, and that's why I'm going to send it, because I've been doing 5 other things this morning before this meeting. So I will get that out to you so you can see exactly what CARES stands for. But it is about a system, and it's about a data system that we're all going to be using. Again, we are going to be standing this up. We anticipate having everything at least the minimum piece that we're able to do. Thank you, Aaron, for getting that into the chat for me. Again, one of the things I just need you to understand is we are still in COPA. We are moving towards the new system. There's going to be a time in which we have both, because we don't want to shut one off until the other is fully loaded. And so over the next months, that's what we're working on. I do know that people have received information about single sign-on because it will be a system where you will be able to sign into Salesforce, the application system, at the same time. So I know some information has gone out regarding that. If you did not, then let us know that you didn't receive the information at your agency. My last point on here is about all families. All families need to be in the application system. The application system was launched April 19th. And as you're managing enrollments on your side, I need all the applications done on all of your families. The reason we need to do that is we need to be able to manage capacity and fill rates across all of our communities. And this system is going to allow us to do some of that. And so that's one of the things that we need everyone to participate in. And that's getting families into that application system. And so I'm asking you to work with us. If a parent comes to you, you're going to have access. You can go in and make sure that that application is completed for that family. And I see some questions coming up. I'm going to go to the next slide and then come back to a couple of questions that I did see. So next slide. And so some application updates. Just want to say, again, there's been a significant increase in parent applications in the system, which is great, meaning that the marketing campaign went out there. Many parents understood it. They did get themselves into the system. So we are seeing an increase in parent applications. There's been an increase in accepted offers, meaning that parents are going in and they're saying, yes, they do want to accept the offers that are in there. And that's a good piece that the accepted offers are actually happening across the system. We do know that there's active use within the application system for parents birth to 3. That was new. We do know that we are getting active use from parents who are both searching and looking for programs. for their children birth to 3. And this is an ad, this is new. This program year, we've been working on it for a couple of years, and we were able to do it in the new iteration of this application system. So that's a great ad and a great feature for parents and community. And so please use your voice actively and let people know that it's out there, and they can go on, they can search, they can find, and they can apply. There has been a significant reduction in the 3-year-old wait list. One of the things that we've known over the last few years is we would have this system out there, but what we end up with is a 3-year-old wait list. And so it's right now, it's about half of what it was before. And so that's a great thing. It means that fewer parents are sitting somewhere waiting to get their children into program. And that's what we wanted to impact, was that wait list. So we're really happy that it's fewer families sitting on wait lists right now. We know that there's an increase in applications for your programs, meaning over the years when we would launch the application, there may be 10,000 applications, but only maybe 200 to 500 were parents asking for CBOs as a first choice. But there's been an increase where parents are seeing this as an opportunity to apply. They're using it, they're going in and they're applying. So we want parents to be able to get through the door. Some of them are going to walk directly in your door. We recognize and acknowledge that. Some are going to be on the system, and we want them to find you there. We understand that we see an increase. So again, that's a plus, and that's an add, and that's great for all of you, and it's great for all of the programs that are out in community. And so I'm going to go to see what we have here in the chat box. Who do we contact if we have not received the Salesforce logon? And someone responded, CSD Support, City of Chicago. So you've got that. Looking, and I'm not seeing any other questions on here right now. And Aaron put in Children Analytic Reporting and Evaluation System, so everybody knows what the name of that system is. And so again, as we move forward, we are going to continue to work with you as we go through the next releases over the system. I do know that later in the presentation, they will be talking a little bit more about what we're asking everyone to engage in, and that's active management and active communication and management, meaning that you're constantly working with your staff and individuals to make sure that they are aware and bought into this process. Because again, I know it's going to be difficult when we hit that door where we have both systems open and available. So if we're talking through this, we're working through it, it's going to be much less, or we're hoping for less anxiety over this when we get to that door. But I need you to continue to work with us, ensuring that the communication is getting across your organization and all the individuals who touch data for you, who are inputting data, and putting in any record on a family. If they're going in to do attendance, if they're going in to do meals, if they're doing any of this, if they're touching the system on your behalf, we need them to understand that there's a new system coming. They will be trained on it, absolutely. But there will be a time when we will have both systems running at the same time. And I don't want to get to that door this summer and then people feel like they did not know that both would be active. Saying it now, we'll continue to say it, have said it before. We will have both systems active for a period of time, because we will not release one until we know that we have a system that is stood up, that's working, and will do all of what's necessary so that we can continue what we're required to do in capturing data and reporting. So I'm going to go back to see if there's any additional questions before I stop talking. Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and say next slide and let the next person chime in.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So we officially wrapped up our self-assessment process yesterday. So thank you to the self-assessment committee who were able to join in, chime in, and represent their organizations. So moving forward, I highly suggest that the EDs and PDs share that information that you receive from CSD updates with your staff so that they can provide some input into those meetings. The next meeting will be Q3, July 13th, 2022, and Craig will provide information about the PIR reporting season.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone, as Sir Ethel just told you, we are shifting to a new data system, the Csd Cares, beginning with our new program year, which will begin along with the CPS school year on August 22nd. Because of that, our current year will end on August 19th, and we will be reporting the PIR based on the status of programs at that point. So that is 2 months from now. We are working right now to gather that information together to prepare those reports. So although we are moving to a new data system in August, the PIR for this year is going to come out of COPA as it has for the past 14 years. So all the information in there needs to be up to date soon so we can start to pull that out. Because we're going to move to a new system after the new year, the old system will still be open, but there may be limitations on what changes you can make after that point that would still have impact on the program information report. So if you have funding from Head Start, Early Head Start Child Care Partnership, or the Early Head Start Expansion Grant, we need the information that will go on the report to be updated very soon. So some information, as we're all aware, this is one of the reasons that we're moving to a new data system, is that some information that we need to pull together for the PIR has never been very well reported in COPA. So for those additional fields, we will be sending out a Google form to everyone in the next few weeks. We're actually hopefully sooner than that because we're almost done with it right now. But that will cover some of the questions about things like teacher turnover that we've had trouble getting out of our existing data system. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to ask to have that information back by, I believe, Friday, July 15th, and this will all come out in communication soon. But and that information will include, as I said, teacher turnover. We will need, again, has already been stressed, that we will need all of your staff who are on any of these grants or teaching in any of the classrooms with children who have federal funding. We need all those files updated in COPA HR, again, within the next 4 weeks so we can pull everything out of there. So if the classroom is open and there are 2 adults in there, we need them. Yes, if they are a temp, we need them. If it's a substitute, we need them. Any of you that are familiar with the Head Start Enterprise Systems knows if we say that there are 3 classes, then we need 6 teachers. And if we only report 4, then it's a problem. We receive an error. We need to write up an explanation and so on. So we can't really operate a classroom without teachers. So we need the adults reflected in HR. And when we say that, we mean we need not just their name, but we need their educational background, their salary, their background check, the primary language, race and ethnicity, all the things that are asked on the PIR need to be documented in COPA at this time. And we are working on the data transition. So fingers crossed, but if in a timely manner here, you can get all this information into COPA, we should be able to migrate it to the new system and not require you to do double entry. But because it's going to take some time, as Sir Ethel said, we're going to have a period where we've opened up the new system, but we're still in COPA and we'll be migrating data throughout that period. So if you don't update COPA now, you may end up needing to do it twice and put staff in both systems because you didn't put it in COPA until after we did the migration. So the best thing to do is get everything perfect right now. We'll report it on the PIR and you'll have less work to do later. That's all. Thank you.
And I thank you, Craig. I didn't fail to go over one item, and it has to do with vaccines for young children. We're hearing that we are going to be having vaccines for children in the age group that we serve. And I know we've been waiting on it for a long time in the next few weeks. I do need to ask a question, and you can put it in the chat for me. If anyone has the capacity and is willing to host vaccine sites, or if you're willing to do meeting activities around the vaccine implementation, either during the day or over the weekend. If you can put in the chat that you have a willingness to participate in this, that would help me. I'm working with CDPH as we're trying to launch this across the city to make sure that we can get as many parents who will get their children vaccinated, because we know every parent's not going to choose to do it. They have their reasons. But we want to make sure that we are able to have it accessible across the city of Chicago. And so thanks, Cindy, for putting yours in so quickly. So if there's anybody who's interested, please put it in the chat. We'll be gathering that at the end, and I'll be sharing that information with CDPH. Thank you. Go ahead and go to the next person. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, it's the enrollment update. I guess that's me again. For those of you who have been following this the last few months, you will see these numbers are very familiar. We have crept up a little bit in our birth to 3 enrollment, and we've been about the same for the Head Start and PFA in terms of the percentage of our slots that are enrolled at the moment. And we all know we've been struggling throughout COVID-19 to maintain these levels. I would say that the interest that has been generated by the online application looks to be stronger than it was last year. So I'm very hopeful about our enrollment for the fall. However, we are still short in that environment, and in the environment where coming soon, we will return to the full enrollment mandate from the feds for all of our Head Start and early Head Start grants. I want to make sure that everyone is flexible about the family is attempting to enroll, and makes every effort so to find those people who are expressing interest in enrolling in your program and get them enrolled by almost any means necessary. But it does look like there is a lot of public interest out there, so that is that's a positive step. I'm very hopeful for next year.
Thank you, Greg. And now health and safety updates. Good morning, everyone. In terms of facilities, we are gearing up with GEC to provide inspections. We will be focused primarily on CCP and then roll out with the other programs. We're going to be looking at indoor and playgrounds, just like we did when we went through this last review with expansion. We'll also look at your annual water testing. Now, a couple of caveats with this. Do not wait on GEC with these inspections. You all are doing your own internal monitoring of indoor and outdoor areas. Please go ahead and continue to do that. Don't wait for the monitors here. Don't wait for GEC. If there are things that need repair, then please go ahead and begin making those repairs. Also, when I speak with GEC, I am going to provide them with program director contact information. If you have other staff that are responsible in this particular area, and I don't have that information, or the team leads don't have that information, please send it to us so that we can make sure that everyone is in the loop as they begin to go out and to schedule. If you choose to perform your own water testing, as some of you do, please make sure that you upload that information, the results. If you have any exceedances, and you're going to do your own mitigation plan, that we have that information. You can either upload it to eDocs in COPA, or you can send it to your team monitoring leads. And if you do, please CC me. So again, everyone is in the loop. Background checks. July 1st, We are engaging Accurate Biometrics to do another massive screen. For those of you that were with us, I think it was back in 2018, we did a massive screen at this level with our agencies, and that got us through these 5 years. So now we're coming up this year on those 5 years. In working with the expansion programs, we also noticed that there were a lot of us staff that hadn't had rechecks. They hadn't had updated background checks. So this is an opportunity for us to get all of our existing staff, as well as our new hires, get their background checks. The good thing about this is we will be sending Accurate on site. So we'll be sending them out to you. But what we ask that you do is that you select a mother location. I didn't come up with this term, mother location. It was Accurate. And so I liked it. So we're going to keep it. But what that means is, and I'll just speak maybe to the YMCA, because you're one of our larger delegates, you and Ada. We would like for all of you, the 14 federally funded agencies, to select one location where all of your staff will then come to that one site and be screened. The good thing about this is we can stay at that site for a couple of days if that's what's needed to get everyone background checked. Your partner sites can then feed into that one mother location. We are flexible in terms of weekdays. We will be screening Monday through Friday, but if we need to do a Saturday, if we need to do some evenings, Accurate has the ability to do it. So we're going to be working directly with, as soon as you send me who those site locations are and contact information, we will be working directly with you, PDs, program directors, and your HR managers, because it's going to be important that we're all in the loop, that we receive which staff in advance of your schedule on site, which staff are going to need background checks. Accurate is also going to be able to use the forms that you use now. It has the DFSS logo and Accurate Biometrics logo. Those are the forms that you use to send them to Accurate locations. So that's another plus to this. We don't have to do any new forms. I will say though, if you haven't gotten, or your partner sites haven't gotten your ORI numbers established, you need to turn that around quickly, very quickly. And so again, I'm not going to spend time going over what you need to do. We have sent that information out and we can recirculate that information on how to establish an ORI. This is going to be for all of our sales sites, but the priority is going to be, of course, on our early Head Start CCP, and then we'll just move through after that. I am thinking of also setting up maybe 1 or 2 webinars so that we can continue to walk you and handhold you through this, because some of you are brand new staff and brand new to the system with Accurate. So look forward to that as well. You can also reach out to me, and you can reach out to the team leads on Ops. I see there are a couple of questions that are in the chat from Linda. Would new staff need to be background checked again? So what I'll say to that is 2 things. What we're doing with Accurate is a supplement or support to what you are doing and need to do for license. DCFS has its own process, but this process that we're running is going to be in support of that. because we know DCFS is delayed in getting those background checks. It does not usurp DCFS's process, because you do need to do that for licensing, and they're not going to accept any other background checks. But we want to make sure, at least on the federal side and the ECBG side, that your staff are covered. Background checks for DCFS and for the federal side are 5 years. So we're going to be asking you and your HR managers to go through and look to see which staff have background checks within those 5 years. I know many of us that have been around for quite some time, our background checks are expiring. So this would be the time to take advantage of this massive screening. And don't forget, you also have the opportunity to continuously send your people through Accurate. You know, if you're able to participate in the massive, or if you want to go ahead and send individuals. So again, we're going to have more detailed information as this rolls out. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that you had that date of July 1st that we're going to kick this off. But we're going to do some pre-meeting so that you really understand what it is we need to have. So I'm going to move on to Gina with CPS Summer Assessment Update. Gina.
Thank you, B. Just some brief updates as B indicated from Chicago Public Schools. First, I would like to share that the CPS school year ended for students this week on Tuesday, June 14th. And so our teachers are wrapping up this week their classrooms, completing professional development activities for the remainder of the week. And that our team will continue to work throughout the summer to provide training and technical assistance in the disabilities content area. I would ask you to please look to COPA for summer training opportunities in the disabilities content area. Our team will be conducting trainings on all of the developmental screening tools, the EZR, the ASQ-SE2, the ASQ3. So please be on the lookout for those. In addition to that, we'll be doing virtual trainings on the CPS referral process. And as with every year, we know you have turnover or those who need a refresher. So please, we invite you to participate, or your staff to participate in those virtual trainings. Next, I'd like to tell you about summer school, or as at CPS we refer to as extended school year. And so we know that our diverse learners may be eligible for extended school year services. Not all diverse learners or children with IEPs do qualify for ESY. And so it really is an IEP team decision. And so if you have questions about whether or not a child qualifies for ESY, you can always reach out to our team subject matter experts. You also may reach out to the school case manager, who is keenly aware of the students who qualify. Children may qualify for 4 weeks or 6 weeks of extended school year. All of extended school year will begin on July 6th. Of this year. And so we do have some downtime from the schools between this Friday and 2 weeks from now when ESY will begin. And I would like to tell you, we have 35 locations that will hold ESY services. However, there may be some changes last minute just to consolidate resources. So if some schools have low enrollment, they may move those students to another school location nearby to kind of pool our resources. But again, any questions about ESY, reach out to our team. In addition, I would like to tell you about school assignment letters. And so our citywide assessment team operates every day of the year, continuing to evaluate our referred children. Those children coming out of early intervention are evaluated by CPS. And then those children that are referred by your programs are also evaluated throughout the year. And so that will continue this summer. We refer to this as CPS summer assessment. So during summer, we have different locations. So this year we'll have 3 locations in which summer assessment evaluations will be conducted. The first one is Shoup Academy. And for those of you who are more seasoned, Shoup is a large Chicago public school at 111th and Bishop. And that's just off the Dan Ryan Expressway to the south. Now that location has historically been open to us. There's multiple classrooms there. So we have a great capacity to evaluate our referred children. However, that school is only open through July 29th. And so you'll see appointments in the month of July at Shoup and then no longer in August. And that's because the school will not be available after July 29th. However, we have 2 additional locations. The other is Garfield Park Assessment Center, and this is located at 2651 West Washington Boulevard. Now that is our central city evaluation center. It's located very near Madison and Western Avenues. And then thirdly, this summer, we have Westinghouse High School. And that location is very near Garfield Park, but it's just to increase capacity. So we'll have more evaluation teams and families coming to Westinghouse. That's located at 3223 West Franklin. And those 2 last locations, Garfield Park and Westinghouse, will operate evals through August 12th. We have 2 times available for families, 8:30 and noon. And so it's by appointment only. Unfortunately, we cannot accommodate walk-ins. So if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to me or to our team subject matter experts as well, and we can assist you. The evaluations will continue into the foreseeable future to be hybrid. CPS means hybrid. Parent and child, one child, are welcomed in person, and all of the other IEP team members, including external community stakeholders, will join virtually. So your programs will continue to receive a Google Meet invite if the parent has agreed for you to participate or your staff to participate in that evaluation. Okay, I'll move on to school assignment letters. We always receive questions about where will our diverse learners receive services in the upcoming school year. And what I will tell you is if the families are enrolled at CPS currently for their children to receive IEP services, that placement will continue for the next school year, provided they are still pre-K. The exceptions would be if families aren't pleased with the school that their child is attending and they can request a new school assignment. However, the default is that the child will remain at the same school the child is enrolled in this school year. Okay, so for children who are newly identified, they will receive school assignment letters, or children whose families have requested a new assignment at the end of this month. So before the end of June, families should be on the lookout in their email and in their mailboxes at home to have received that new school assignment letter for the new school year. Lastly, and most importantly, I think at this time is a really important update for CPS transportation. As we know, there is a national shortage of bus drivers that occurred during the pandemic, and it is still an ongoing concern. However, in this past school year, CPS plan to mitigate that by offering families a stipend up to $500 a month in which they could secure their own services, transportation services for children to receive their IEP services at CPS. Some families were able to accept that stipend, some were not. We met with CPS yesterday, and the internal news is now that they will no longer be offering that financial assistance in the upcoming school year. And families will receive a letter regarding this, the families that are impacted. But by and large, CPS intention is to transport all of the children who qualify for services in the new school year. And they've indicated that our diverse learners are their highest priority. So let's hope, we're hopeful that that can come to fruition, but just so that you're aware, this is something that's going to be happening. And so that, oh, and finally, and last but not least, IEPs, really important, as Craig indicated, every IEP, every IFSP counts. And so we're asking programs as soon as the child is identified that day at the evaluation center to come back and enter that child's IEP into COPA. As Craig said, he'll be dropping the totals from COPA for the PIR, and we really need to see every IEP represented there. If you have questions about how to enter it, you can reach out to me or to our team, and we will definitely follow up with you. And that is all I had, B.
Regina.
Thank you.
And then lastly, the only other thing that I wanted to remind everyone of, and I think Craig put it best earlier, is to remember to update your COPA entries. We know that infants and toddlers receive their hearing and vision results typically when they visit their pediatricians. Just make sure that you enter that information into COPA. as well as preschoolers. Now, whether or not our technicians at DFSS are providing those services, or if you're getting those services through CPS sites, make sure that you go back and you update that information at COPA. It is going to be very important that we're able to see here at DFSS what the diagnosis is, what the treatment plan is, so that we can provide any resources that we're aware of to you. And then lastly, PFA only. We know that you are utilizing the CPS screening sites. If you need that information, please feel free to reach back out to us. You can reach out to me, you can reach out to Angela Hughes, and we will get that resource with those site locations and the contacts in order for you to set up that schedule for the families or work with the families to set that up. So we're here. Just let us know what it is you need. And with that, I think I'm turning it over to Will.
Thank you, B. Good morning, everyone. A few updates from our Program Development and Quality Unit here. Trainings. Please always remember there are still trainings posted on COPA for you and your teachers and your support staff to benefit from. Again, please see your COPA database to register for those trainings. Also, we have some updates from Teaching Strategies. A lot of our users have, Teaching Strategies have developed a new system for ongoing professional development. This is a way for us to expand opportunities and ways in which we can continue to learn and grow in the area of professional development. Teaching Strategies has issued a website called Quorum. If you have your username into Teaching Strategies, this will be something you should have received or will receive in the coming weeks from Teaching Strategies. There's a series of areas to focus on under assessment, topics under leadership, health and safety, community partnerships, child development, curriculum activities as well, and also a new area under the CDA subject areas. And again, this is just another opportunity for us to access some professional development opportunities on demand for our teachers and our staff. Also, we will be working with Teaching Strategies over the summer. As mentioned, we'll be going into our EHS CCP federal review in the coming months or so. And so we will be doing some focused curriculum-based area trainings and just refresher courses for our EHS CCP sites. But also over the summer, we'll be instituting another workshop as it relates to iterated reliability into our Teaching Strategies and creative curriculum. Also our creative curriculum to fidelity toolkits, as well as trainings, all specifically around utilizing the curriculum to fidelity. So please look out for more information to come on that. We'll make sure we push that out in our CSD updates, and also special blurbs directly to your staff and your education coordinators and teachers as well. Also mentioned earlier today, Office of Head Start will be conducting class this coming fall. We will still be conducting our class observations over the summer. We have taken care of all of our PFA and PI blended classrooms. So if we have conducted observations for any of those classrooms that were blended, we know that they're taken care of. But any of our federally funded programs that sit alone, those, please look out for those scheduling windows to happen in the week or two to come. Our class observations will be continued to be conducted over the summer. You had a few items delivered to your sites. We use some of our PFA and PI dollars to ship directly to you some diversity, equity, and inclusion kits, both for 0 to 3 classrooms, as well as 3 to 5 classrooms. I have here a list of confirmed deliveries already, and so we hope that you put those to use in those PFA and PI classrooms. Also, at the end of the year, we've also provided you all with some transition backpacks. And so we took this information from our Teaching Strategies portal. I'm able to see any of our children transitioning from your infant toddler classroom, who will be going into their 3 to 5 classrooms this upcoming fall. And then also your 5-year-olds transitioning from your pre-K classrooms, leaving us and going into kindergarten. Those two were also delivered to your sites. We hope that your staff and your children and families get good use out of those tools and enjoy them. That's all from us here in this unit, and I thank you all for your time. I'll pass it to our next. Pass it to finance.
Good morning. So Nicole Roberts is out, so I'm going to do the current expenditure rates for Head Start, Early Head Start, CCP, and expansion. So for Head Start, we're at 24%, Early Head Start 19%, CCP 22%, and expansion, we're at 20%. Can you go to the next slide? The current expenditure rates for ECBG were at 62% and CCAP at 46%. So the finance department updates for HHS fiscal year 22, all invoices should be submitted for periods of December 1st, 2021 through May 31st, 2022. Please submit your invoices monthly. Review your budget to actual expenditures often to anticipate any budget revision needs. COLA grant application is under review by the funder, and the pandemic funding, the ARP and CRRSA award notifications are pending. The fiscal 22 childcare invoices should be submitted through period covered ending date of May 31st, 2022. For PI and PFA, allocations for a one-time retention funds were sent on June 14th. Budget revisions are due back by this Friday. Do not submit any further invoices until you receive notification of approval for the one-time retention revision. Have your invoices prepared and ready for submission upon budget revision approval, and invoices cannot be accepted beyond July 22nd of 2022. For iSupplier training and reference materials can be, you can use that link for online training materials. There's frequently asked questions that can be answered as well. There's also the phone number for procurement that's on that link. There's also an email if you need support in regards to iSupplier. Finance contacts, congratulations to Sharon Davis, who has accepted the supervisor of accounting role. Laverne Coleman will be the accountant for all federal funded contracts until further notice. Monica is the accountant for the ECBG budget revisions. Head Start, Early Head Start, CCP expansions, you can email Laverne, that's her email. Corporate RTL is Laverne. Childcare is Selena. And PI and PFA is Monica. And so those are all their emails. Feel free to contact them if you have any questions and concerns regarding finance.
Thanks, Soraya. So before we go to that, can we go back to the expenditure slides? So that I can, again, here I am on my soapbox, reminding everyone that our funders, both federal and state, are minding the store and looking at our expenditure rates. Our regional office has requested that we ensure that agencies are invoicing on a monthly basis so that they're able to have more current and updated information from the city regarding where we are with our expenditure rates. Right now, we're in June, midway through June, which is the 7th month, and we are really only about a couple of percent expended on these grants. And so we are really down, and we've got to ensure that we're getting more of the expenditures in. To what Soraya has been reading, we're asking that everyone get in your invoices through the end of May so that they're tracked into the system so that we can see where we are on task and on target with the federal dollar. And let me explain again. Many of you have in the past and may need additional support services, meaning that there may be something that you need done on the ground at your organization. You may need supplemental or something like that. I am not able to predict my ability on either one of these grants as to the ability to work with you on supplementals if I can't see that the dollars are going out the door on invoices. If I can't see it, you can't do your budget revision, and I'm not able to do what it is I would be able to do to support you. And so Again, please get your invoices in so that we can see exactly where we are and what we're tracking towards, so that we can be better stewards of these dollars and really work with you to make sure that the dollars are going out the door for the things that you need on the ground. Next slide, please. And so when you're looking at ECBG, what you're looking at for ECBG, based on what was in the system when this was pulled at 62%, that's again leaving $30 million on the table. Hence, part of what we're using. We have what William has talked about is DEIs and backpacks that comes out of these dollars as well. But also the one-time retention allocations are a part of what has been left on the table. But again, I know the staff have been talking to you, and I know some of you have gone to Fiscal with questions about your expenditures as well. But again, make sure that you're getting everything in so that we can get as many of these dollars out the door. We do know that we're turning back dollars to CPS. What they can do with it, if it comes to them in time, they can reallocate PI into PFA, and they can use it within their house. But anything that's left in PI right now, if we don't expend it, then it goes back to the state. It does not behoove us to continue to send money back to the state. And so again, we made some decisions internally, and this is really part of the reason is looking at where we were. We could not afford to just walk away from that number of dollars when we knew we could do something for staff. Reminder for CCAP, it's a rolling application. If you're not using DFSS CCAP, it is an opportunity for you to do that. As you can see, we do have dollars still available in our CCAP fund. And so with that, I'm going to stop. I just wanted to remind everybody of the urgency and the look from our funders. Our expenditure rates was a part of our expansion grant. Everybody needs to understand when we were doing our FA2, our expenditure rates did come up in that discussion. And so it's going to be on the table for CCP as well, I'm sure, about our expenditure rates. And so know that the Office of Head Start, they're minding their store as well as the state of Illinois. And I just want to impress upon everyone that we need to really be vouchering on a monthly basis so that we can be better predictors and really think about how we can best use these dollars on behalf of children and families and your staff. Thanks, everyone. Do we have any, I know I saw Aaron, do we have anyone with slides on OCM? I'm going to go ahead. I need to step off, but we're at that point that we can turn the presentation over to you.
Yes, it's Justin. We have some slides.
Hi, Justin. Go ahead. I'm going to step off. I do need to move on to an 11 o'clock, so I'm going to leave it in your hands, Justin. Thanks, everyone, for spending time with us this morning, and I'll talk to you really soon. Thanks, everyone.
Well, good morning, everyone. Just as a reminder, my name's Justin Nelson. I'm joined by my colleague, Erin Ramirez, and we are the Organizational Change Management Team for CSD Cares. And we're also joined by my training lead colleague, Darren Weatherspoon. So if possibly they may chime in if I can't answer something. So the quick things I want to go over is, as you see, these 6 items. As Sarithral mentioned earlier in this meeting, talking about CSD Cares and the need to drive awareness across both internal and agency staff. And really, that's what we're having a conversation with you today about. We know that, for example, when you get CSD updates, you're typically driven to kind of an update database where you can find information. What we want to talk to you today about is the digital hub, which is the one place to go for anything as it relates to change, FAQs, communications, presentations, training, as it relates to CSD Cares. So let me talk to how you access the digital hub. And I know my colleague Erin, I believe, is putting this into the chat as we speak. But simply there is an easy link you can go to in your browser. Everyone gets the same password to access the digital hub. And you can see already, it's got some good resources in there. And we're going to talk specifically to some of those resources as I move forward. And we do know, I think, in the region of 60 visitors to the site already. We would like to see that grow pretty significantly because these are, I guess, assets that we believe will benefit your organization as well as obviously CSD in implementing these this new solution. So when you get to the hub, and I'm just going to talk to some of the sections in here, the hub is just recently extended its content portfolio to also include login information, and very shortly we will have Schoolmint related information there as well. So again, anything that's kind of adjunct or about CSD Cares, this will be the one place to go. So as you can see within login information, we've got how to set up your account, how to access and log out of the dashboard, and how to troubleshoot some login issues. I'm not going to read through all of these, but particularly for you as leaders in your organizations, we've provided some collateral which we believe would help anyone who's driving change management. So there is some assets there to look at: the change leader video, the understanding the change journey. You may very well be very familiar with it, but again, it's always a good reminder to understand the kind of the key stages that people always go through. The speed of which they go through them differs by individual, and then also a leader's guide, so giving you a sense of expectations of being a change leader, and things you can refer to and think about as you drive change in your organizations as it relates to CSD Cares. We also have information that specifically is available for your staff. At this point, it's just limited to FAQs and understanding the messaging, how we talk about this new solution. It's not COPA 2.0, it's CSD Cares, right? And as we all know, we've moved from a technology that's been in place for some time to now a new kind of modernized, transformed solution that brings all sorts of new value and capacity and capability for us all to use. So it's good to use the messaging that supports that, particularly as you talk about the solution. And I'd also ask your team members, your staff, to look at the messaging, because again, it allows them to articulate what this new solution is about, rather than kind of is it COPA, like I say, is it COPA 2.0, is it something else? This just anchors how everyone can talk about the solution. In addition, we have training resources. So most recently, you'll know that your system administrators have gone, typically all of them have gone through training. And now we have the assets that were used in those trainings available in the training resources, particularly, if people want to go back and have a kind of reminder, or for example, as we move forward and maybe you hire someone new or someone's promoted into a role, you can point them to this location. And in terms of, we also have a contact us form, and we know many people have used that already. That goes to both CSD and also the IT organization, and they're fast responding to those questions as they come in. Equally, when we see kind of repeat questions, we're now working to add those to the FAQs. So as people kind of, hopefully people start asking new questions rather than the same questions, because the FAQs meet their needs. In terms of some things that are coming soon, I mentioned Schoolmint. We're very close to putting that content up. I anticipate certainly by early next week. We are in the process of updating FAQs. So as those questions have come in, we've worked with CSD and or the IT organization and even others to address those questions that get raised. Some of them are not specific to CSD Cares, but we think if someone's coming here to ask a question, we feel we should try and do our best to answer it, if it's not about CSD Cares. We have a video that your staff will be able to look at. It's a kind of a take on the leader video I just referenced, but it's one more for your staff to look at. And then we're going to be communicating out about something we call in the know sessions. In essence, think of them as kind of previews of features that are coming in the CSD Cares solution. And, you know, it also helps with kind of getting comfortable with what it's going to look like, get the environment, getting a sense of potentially where training may go. So just look forward to communications coming out very soon about these in the know sessions. We would like to start driving those pretty imminently, probably within a week to 2 weeks. We'd like to provide at least kind of a 1 hour session where, you know, people can jump in to get in the know. So I guess this is part of kind of the meat of our conversation, is that, you know, please go to the digital hub, access the resources that we hope will support your driving of awareness within your organization. You know, if we could do that for you, obviously we would, but we can't. We have to, you know, partner with yourselves to make awareness a reality in your agencies. And I know some of these assets will be put in the chat as well. We know Cerebral provided you recently a presentation that you might want to use with your staff, or an email that you might want to use with your staff, and also some attachments that, you know, you may want to use in driving awareness with your staff. So kind of intro to them, digital hub, intro to, you know, some of these assets, point them back to the digital hub for more information. And, you know, as we think about communication, you know, please do share that login to the digital hub as broadly as possible within your organization. Please don't send it outside of your organization. The intent is it's only for agency staff. We do know that for some people, CSD has been asking for additional user information so that we can ensure that if someone signs up for a training, we already know who they are and validated, so we can set up their account. So if there's currently an ask with you or your organization to provide user information, I know everyone's busy, but we would just request that that can be addressed as soon as possible, please. In terms of where we are, I think everyone knows the date, but I just want to give you a quick snapshot of what's happened to date. Like I said, the system admins have all gone through their training. We actually extended that training. And I'll talk to why we did that in just a second. So we went pretty much a month of training for system admins. We're now at the point, like I said, we're going to start talking about in the know sessions, thinking of these kind of previews of functionality. And the next big thing that's really on the horizon from a training perspective is starting 5th of July, we'll now be asking users to start viewing the basic kind of navigation video. So, you know, as people start being asked to get training on the release 2 phase, which really is the big chunk of the CSD Cares solution, they already have a preview on what that's going to look like. And then we'll actually start driving the trainings towards the end of the July, from 7/25, where we'll start driving specific functional areas to users who use that functional area. It's not going to be, you know, tell everyone to go and do this training. It's going to be specific to a user group who uses that particular functionality. So that's what we'll start seeing, is those trainings being offered for those kind of functional areas, and then communicated to those users of that functionality. I don't know, Darren, if there's anything else you'd like to add about training before I move on.
No, I'm good. You can continue.
Thank you. So just a little, I think we need to just talk about system admin training. I think, you know, there was, we had some feedback, you know, we ran into some issues, and primarily it was that, and I kind of mentioned it before, is that we had people signing up for training, but we didn't actually have their user information. So it meant we couldn't get the jump on setting them up in Salesforce. So the experience was, you know, a user might come to a training and they're like, well, I don't have any login information. I can't follow the training. So the team kind of have addressed that. They've come up with a check process now. So when they get the user information, they get it verified that, it's valid user. And then we're able to populate the Salesforce training environment so that everyone who comes to that specific training now should have immediate access. And none of this kind of delay that we were seeing at the beginning of trainings where we were kind of deal with all these account issues. So now that should no longer be the experience of anyone attending training.
Yeah, I just want to add on that as well. So because of that, there are a number, and this week we have our training team is going through and evaluating all of the participants who attended, who did not attend from a system admin perspective. And we will be offering a third and final round of system administration training that will start in the July timeframe. However, that is going to be linked closely with the effort that the city is putting out with the single sign-on solution. So a number of your users are being, as they're being set up in the system, you're providing the city with the user information. That information is then being fed, and it is now populating all of the systems that they will need to be populated in, which would include Schoolment, ServiceNow, Rapid ID, as well as Salesforce. So it is critical for this third and final round of system admin training that agencies get their information into the city for those users that they want to participate in that training. And again, the dates for the training are going to be we'll start July 11th through the 22nd. So that will be the final round of training for release 1 system admin training. We have just worked with the city to secure that they are in fact and do want to have that additional round of training. So there will be registration information coming out shortly. Please make sure your organization has provided the information needed to the city so that their accounts can be set up. That's it, Justin.
Great. Thank you, Darren, for the additional detail on the third training there. So just to get a little bit more into the actual trainings that are upcoming. So I mentioned, becoming available July 5th, you've got this, on-demand video recorded, this basic navigation training that we would ask all users of Csd Cares to view. It's I'm not sure exactly how many minutes, but I'm going to say it's somewhere between 5 to 10 minutes long.
Let me jump in there, Justin.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of things. So although this is going to be a webinar, it is a webinar that we are requesting people, you have to register and sign up for, right? So it will be running at least about 3 to 4 times a day. So you can pick whichever session you want to go, but it will be running for 3 weeks. We are requiring this as a prerequisite to go to role-based training. So we'll be sending out registration information, and we need everyone to go through and view the recording. It will include a demo of the system, but it will also talk about some basic things about the project. It's really going to go into some detail about language that we use from the Salesforce side of the fence, and so that people can understand and get a good foundation on what we're referring to. So it's really critical that people do sign up, register, and attend these classes, as we are looking at this as a prerequisite for attending role-based classes later on in the month.
Thank you, Darren. And then just moving to the release 2 related training, those invitations will start. The opportunity to register will become available prior to that. And a thing to call out here is some of the kind of the things we've learned in delivering training to date. One, register for your training slot as soon as possible. Day of training can be, it's not really a thing we would like to happen.
And Justin, just to add to that, we will actually be closing training so that people 2 days prior to the training, so you will not have the opportunity to log in and register for same day training. So just be mindful of that. We do close them 2 days prior.
Thanks, Darren. Yeah, I wasn't sure if we were continuing with that. So that's a good takeaway, because obviously the training team need to be able to understand and scale to and ensure all of those users that are joining that training are set up appropriately. We do ask, be cognizant of the duration of the training. Attending for an hour and a 2-hour training, we all know isn't necessarily getting the best value out of that training. We ask that people log in on a PC. This isn't a dial in via, log in via cell phone type experience. It's definitely, sat in front of a PC and a screen. And ideally that device allows you to both speak and listen, whether by headset or directly to the PC, so that we can manage any Q&A, for example, that may occur in the training. In order to understand what the role-based trainings will be around, this isn't necessarily the order of the trainings, but we want you to understand, like, here are core functional areas that will be included in trainings, in the role-based trainings. I'll just let you read that. I mean, I imagine it looks pretty familiar. I don't know, Darren, is there anything else you'd like to add around the functional areas?
Yeah, so the way we have it structured is for those that are deal with enrollment, we will have the enrollment that will be kind of the enrollment course. We also have class management. So anyone that needs to take attendance, they will go through that course. Case management, we're breaking it up into a couple of different ways. The first case management class will be what we call core case management. So it's functionality that everyone will use within the areas. And then we'll have a second class that will be based on the specific functional area. So you'll have education, children with disabilities, mental health and health services, and nutrition, family and community engagement, that as it relates to the case management for those areas. The core case management class is going to be the longer of the classes. That's going to be a half-day class. That'll be about 3 hours. The other classes for the specialty areas will be shorter in duration, so they will probably be about an hour for each of those classes. So you will need to take a core case management class plus whatever additional specialty area classes that you will want access to. And as we start the enrollment process, one of the things that we're going to be asking is for people to identify all of the courses that they need to take. So if you are a person at an organization that you need to be able to do attendance and do enrollment and do, let's say, mental health services, you would just need to select those 3 courses and let us know that ahead of time. So as part of that, we want to make sure that the information that you're sending back to the city, you're kind of letting people know what roles or what courses they're going to need to take as well. We'll have further discussions and questions on that area.
Great. And that concludes the key messages you want to get across today, which I'll summarize is, please go to the Digital Hub, become familiar with those resources, leverage the communication assets that have been provided, be it email, presentation, to engage with your staff. Please ensure your staff's information is being provided to CSD. Obviously, when training starts coming out, the faster you get into the training, the earlier you get the slot. And last is, keep the dialogue going via Digital Hub if you have questions, and we will seek to resolve those as quickly as we can find the correct subject matter expert. Now, with that, I don't know if any questions at this time for any questions, but we'd be more than happy to do our best to respond to those.
And Janice asked a question about if the trainings will be for all staff on July 27th. So a question about dates and training.
Yes, so the certain classes will be required for all. So the basic navigation class is going to be required for all staff. And then we have the core case management. Again, if you're not a person that does case management, but the majority of people will need to take the core case management classes. Attendance and attendance, again, it will depend on who you are in the organization and if you need to have access to attendance. So we've broken it up from that level of functionality, but yes, there are multiple roles. And then again, we understand that people within organizations may wear many hats. So whichever hat applies to that piece of information, those are the courses that you would sign up for.
Thank you, Darren.
But to clarify, the courses will take place over several weeks, and so the training schedule will be released in the coming weeks. But not all of the classes will be on July 27th. There will be a schedule of classes that are offered over several weeks.
That's correct. I don't know if time allows, but well, first of all, are there any more questions that are coming in? If there aren't, and I know we want to move on to the next topic, but if people who've started engaging their staff about the new Salesforce/CSD Cares solution, could you just put a note in the chat that says OCM started? That'd be great. Just give us a sense of what momentum might already be in place amongst the agency community. So with that, I'm happy to hand back and thank you for the opportunity and listening about CSD Cares and driving awareness in your organizations. Martise, do I hand it back to you or Stacy?
Mara, I think we were done with those slides. Can you go back to our slides and we can wrap it up?
Yes, Justin, if you can stop sharing your screen.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. But yeah, that wraps up the EDPD meeting unless there are other questions.
So you get all of 30 plus minutes back. Well, thank you, everyone. Try to enjoy the rest of your day.